Hello again, and welcome back. Or hopefully you've returned, in spite of the fact that it's been quite some time since my last video upload. Now there's a perfectly good explanation for this. However, I'd like to extend a sincere apology to all of you for not getting a video uploaded sooner than this. I ended up getting wrapped up in a couple of very large woodworking projects that took up all my available time. For the first one, I was hired on to help build a 24 by 36 foot timber frame barn. The second and most recent project was doing a shipwrighting job on a 76-foot motor yacht built in 1927. In order to meet this project's deadline, it essentially required me to be down at my shop in the boatyard 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Didn't leave me much time to work on video production. In fact, it didn't leave me much time for anything else in life, like shaving or getting a haircut. I think I'm starting to look like Leo from Tally Ho here. With those projects behind me, it's freed up my time to pick up where I left off with this channel. And where that was building a small timber frame shed that will house my blacksmith equipment. In this video, I speed up the process of cutting all the joinery on the shed. I also get to a point where I'm able to test fit the entire shed. Also in this video, we go and visit a couple of very interesting blacksmiths who were kind enough to let me come tour their shops and pick their brains about getting into blacksmithing. Now, while I hope you all enjoy watching this video, I'm going to step out and go get a shave and a haircut. I'll see you all in a little bit. In my previous video, I had only gotten as far as assembling the first bent of this small shed, that being the back wall. Right behind me is one of the side walls of the shed, which is pretty apparent because this post on my left-hand side, which will look like my right-hand side, this forward post on my left is much taller than this post right here, which is the back post. On top of these two posts are the tenons that the mortises of the top plate set into. Now those top plates are going to hold my rafters to give me that shed roof. These first two walls, I wanted to test out my joinery to make sure everything was going as planned, and I'm pretty happy with how all the joints are turning out, except this one right here. I'm not happy about that one, but it's good enough for who it's for. After all, we're not rebuilding Notre Dame, we're just building a little backyard shed. There's a couple comments in my last video about how long it takes to cut each joint. I'm about at my halfway point. So what I'm going to do here is line out all my joinery on all my timbers and actually clock myself on how long it takes to cut all those joints. Well, all right. I lost track of time there a little bit, but according to my calculations, it took me roughly 6 hours to finish cutting the second half of all the joints for the shed. Not all the joints. Technically, there's still a few more joints to cut. The 7 rafters that go on the top plates for the roof, those I'm just going to do a simple bird's mouth joint. Now, originally, I thought about doing a more complicated joint, but the pitch of the roof does not warrant that special joint. Also have a few more very simple mortise and tenon to do for the girts. The girts are going to run horizontally at the lower part of the shed to hold the bottom of the siding. Now, I'm really excited to have all these joints cut because it means I get to dry assemble the shed outside of my shop here and see how it all comes together. But before we do that, we're going to go visit a couple of local blacksmiths, both of them with their own unique styles, and one of them with a very unique name.
So my real name is Striker Gooch. My dad was a paper mill worker, and the local mill here in Port Townsend, Washington, went on strike in '78. 10 months later, I was born, so they named me Striker. My wife and I run Striker Forge out here in Port Townsend. We have facilities to handle about 6 people at a time during classes. And then during the summer times, we have 6 employees. Most of our stuff is we do Renaissance fairs, and we do a lot of knives and swords and things like that. Our main breadwinner is the medieval fidget spinner. You can find these at strikerforge.com. It's one of those little mental health devices you can just kind of wear around. It's something everybody can use. One of the things about the Forge, we try to make more useful products. Swords are great, but very rarely do you actually get to pull out a sword unless there's a zombie apocalypse and actually do anything with it. You're much more likely to whip out a bottle opener or a steak turner or something like that, something that's used every day. You know, with the handcrafted stuff, I always tell people this. You know, you could go and get a kitchen knife from Walmart. You know what? That kitchen knife from Walmart's going to do really well. But eventually, it's going to be just in a drawer and you're going to end up throwing it away. But if you have a beautiful handcrafted knife, this is something that gets handed down from generation to generation. We personally use ribbon burner forges. We started out with Clark Taplin forges, which are absolutely fantastic forges. But we kind of had to go a little bit bigger and longer. So we've been cutting and making our own ribbon burners. Poor as a church mouse, I went down to the scrapyard and I picked up a brake drum, and made a coal forge out of that. I burned hundreds of pounds of coal out of it. It worked and it got me started. If you're an aspiring blacksmith, one thing I'm going to tell you that is paramount: make friends with your scrapper. If he sells you one thing of leaf springs and he charges you $50 for it, yeah, it's outrageous. Cut it up, make him or her a knife, and take it down and hand it to them and show them what you did. Now, this thing is going to look like a turd, and it's supposed to. They will admire it more if it's not polished to the nines. And then all of a sudden, they're going to start throwing stuff off to the side for you. Actually, 2019, I was on the Christmas episode of Forged in Fire, season 8, episode 5. And I was the winner. But I'll tell you, everybody on that show I was there with were all master smiths or better than me. Whatever you're doing, no matter how hard you're trying, if you actually want to get something done, slow down, take the time to do what you need to do, and don't try to rush things, because you're just going to have to go back and fix it again.
All right, very good. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, great.
Oh, okay.
And you kept hitting your head on that thing last time too.
Okay, here's a shoe that's been on a horse, ranch horses and stock horses,
Watch your head there, Will.
with the oxygen.
Watch your head there, Will.
Yeah, I got to get away from that thing. That's warmer back there.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I like it back here.
Yeah, okay.
Where I can trip on my junk. It'll work better for you. Ouch. Naughty word. Howdy, my name is Will Frary. I'm a blacksmith. This is my shop in Washington. I bought a junkyard. He moved boats and stuff, and he brought this boat mold in, and he turned it upside down and propped it up with posts, and he filled in the walls inside. Artwork is what I do, architectural and ornamental. I've had a shop in Oklahoma, Colorado, Arizona, a couple different ones in Texas. Started out when I was 9 years old with my own wild horse. He said, well, McGee, now since you have your own horse, you're going to have to learn how to shoe him if you want to ride with the cowboys on the mountain. So I wanted to ride. I wanted to be a cowboy. So Grandpa showed me how to shoe my horse and trim his hooves. Great excitement was running the blower because I was a little kid, and I would crank it and it'd go, wah, wah, and the flames would come way out of the coal fire, and it was pretty neat. We're using propane today. I have a coal forge. I also use wood in. I can weld with wood. I can weld with coal. I can weld with coke. As you're burning the coal down, get the volatiles out. It's called coke. Not like Coca-Cola or anything, but I tried to test with a company that they were recycling organic apple juice bottles. The company gave me a 500-pound bale, so I put them in the fire in my forge and burned those down. Organic apple juice bottles were made out of the triangle number 1, oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon. None of the toxic like you get with PVC and stuff. Yeah, all of the other man-made chemicals and stuff that'll make your babies be born naked in California. Yeah. I have 2 sons, and both have done a little metal work. One has started ranching, and the other one's doing these jewelry work in the metal. Yeah. Makes jewelry and stuff, and piercings and stuff. So he's the walking billboard for their piercing studio. Yeah. He's got stuff here. And here.
I don't know about this younger generation, Will, and their face jewelry. And
if you need any more piercings, well, you can probably get the friend and family discount. Yeah. My great-great-grandfather was working with the Union Pacific Railroad in Utah. So they moved and homesteaded back into Colorado. I started to learn how to shoe horses when I was a kid. Grandfather had 4,500 head of cattle, and when great-grandpa had passed away, I asked grandmother if I could have his forge. And I went in there and found the anvil, and I started hammering on some iron with it, and it was like it was singing to me. That ring resonated while I was pounding on it. It was so cool. It was good for the heart. And I think that is probably what inspired me to learn more about blacksmithing. This hammer also came from great-grandpa's blacksmith shop. This was a cat's head hammer. It was popular in the 1800s. They used it for shaping their horseshoes and stuff. So this is one of my family heirlooms that I use quite a bit. We've got a 4,500 degree fire, taking this iron up to about 2,000 degrees, and it becomes like clay. So iron is actually very similar to clay. Clay particles also have iron in them, and we have iron in our blood. That's what makes everything all red. In the Bible, it talks about a guy named Tubal-Cain, and he was the first blacksmith. So he made all the tools for Noah to make the ark. Didn't want to go on the trip, so he got left behind. Blacksmithing is the basis for all of the metal trades. If it wasn't for blacksmiths, we wouldn't have ships, we wouldn't have cars, we wouldn't have cell phones, we wouldn't have spaceships. The blacksmiths made all the tools, that made all the tools, that made the machines. They had the platform was used to start from dirt and rocks and fire. Learn how to bring iron together and make it hard. When you're handling iron that's been in the forge, it embeds into the pores of your skin. Your hands are all black. Smith means to smite, and it's in the Bible too. God will smite. Smite means to hit. Black smite. Blacksmith.
Gotcha.
My next life, I want to be a goldsmith.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Happy trails.
All right, thanks a lot, Will. All right, well, that's a little better. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making this video, especially my visits with both Stryker and Will. I want to give both of them a big thank you for letting me come and have a glimpse of their lives as blacksmiths. As Stryker mentioned, he has a website, strikerforge.com, where he has some of his products listed, as well as signups for classes he offers. Now, Will, on the other hand, I think you might have to send him a letter via the Pony Express. No, I'm just kidding. He does have an email. If any of you were interested in commissioning Will for any sort of architectural or decorative blacksmithing work, you can reach him at that email. I'll be leaving links to both Will's email and Stryker's website in the description below. I also want to give a huge thank you to everyone who supported this channel through my Patreon or my Buy Me a Coffee account. I want to give an even bigger thank you to all of those who have stuck it out on those platforms despite the lull in production recently. I have some very exciting projects coming up I hope to share with you all on here, and I have every intention of getting back into regularly scheduled video releases at least once a month, if not more frequently in the future. My next video should be finishing up the blacksmith shed, installing it here at home, and outfitting it with all my blacksmith equipment, not without first doing a little bit of site prep, permitting my machine behind me fires up after sitting all winter. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you down the trail.
We had to go to makeup and wardrobe and change your clothes. They put me in Bermuda shorts for the movie.
What are Bermuda shorts?
You're not going to record this one, are you?